So in this video I'm going to show you how I make scarves. This is the loom. As you can see, I already have part of a scarf started. There's one spool of yarn and then the other one's in here. So what I do is, you see this little notch here, right here, that little knob. I start by tying a piece of yarn around that, and then I go around the loom. That's what this circle thing is called, a loom. And you have to go around twice, make a layer at the bottom like this, and then a layer at the top like this. And then the first part is really hard because you have to start by lifting this yarn over the top of this. And it's usually pretty tight unless you make it a little loose. But even if you make it a little loose, it's pretty hard. So that's the first part that's really hard, is making sure that this goes over the knob and over. And then you do it the same to this one, and you just go around and around and around till you get back to this little knob. And then what I usually do is, after I make a row on top, I try to focus. I try to make it so that the yarn stays on this little knob here. So I wrap it around, and then I pull it tight against the loom so it stays there. So that's basically all you do to do a scarf, is you just keep going around and around. As you can see, I've gotten this a little bit on there, and then you can see that this is what it looks like when it comes out the bottom. This color of yarn is called Wildflower, which I really like because it's a little bit girly, but it's kind of gender neutral at the same time. So I get all of my yarn at Walmart usually, and all of the yarn that I get is like the Red Heart brand, and it's all 100% acrylic. So it's not cotton or polyester. It's acrylic, which I don't know what that exactly means, but it's like really soft, and it is really easy to use to make scarves and hats. So what you do when you want to change a color is, all you do is you take a pair of scissors. I usually unwrap this, leave about 2 inches of yarn, then cut it off. And then you add the other color of yarn that you want to do, which this one's teal. It may look a little blue in the camera, but I promise you it's teal. So then you just have to be really careful when you wrap it around the loom and start knitting again to make sure that it doesn't, that the knot that you tie in the yarn, you have to tie a knot in the yarn from one color to another. Make sure it's really tight and make sure that you don't take apart the knot when you're knitting. And if you do, which I do sometimes, then you just have to make another knot and be really careful. And that's two of the hard parts, is just starting the knitting and changing colors of the yarn. I do it on a loom because that's the way I learned how. Some people can do it with knitting needles. And so that's just a tutorial on how I make scarves. So thank you, and I'll see you later.